good.
Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Burn Desire Show. I'm really privileged today to have Jerzy Gregorek with us, so thank you for joining us, Jerzy.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me.
We had this in the diary for about 12 months ago, and for one reason or another, it didn't happen, and then thankfully, finally, we're actually here.
Well, the time is always right? When it happens.
Exactly, exactly. I actually, just for the audience's benefit, I came across yourself via Naval Ravikant's almanac, and you're mentioned quite a bit in there about your. We'll come on to what you do, but your work with him and that kind of thing. And I thought I find him a pretty interesting fellow, and he thinks you're interesting, so I'm like, all right, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, Naval is specific and choosy, right? So he knows what he wants and and goes after it.
Yeah,
So it's like he believes that when you have friends, you should have friends that you will be with them forever.
sure. Yeah, I think
So
that's a fair comment.
mhm.
So I'm just looking into sort of your history, and I said to you at the beginning before the call, before the recording, that I always like to lead with the Steve Jobs quote that you can't connect dots going forwards, only backwards. And I like to go as far back as we can. So, in school, education wise, were you a studious guy? Were you into your studies, not, or what were things like back then? I know you originate from Poland, right?
Right. So going forward is interesting because there is a Zen saying about that. If you go forward, you get better and you die. And then it goes, if you go backward, you get worse and you die. So the punchline is, why not to go forward?
Sure.
Right. So it's a really hard choices idea about moving forward and creating goodness in life and improving yourself and so on. And that always takes effort, but why not?
No, I agree. So how was life growing up in Poland? Like what were you like back then as a youngster? Were you into your health and fitness or no? Or,
Well, Poland, I grew up in the communistic Poland. It means that Soviet's Poland. So, I was, growing like it would be exaggeration to say that a slave, but somebody that feared afterlife all the time, right? So,
Hmm.
and I was in a place that I could be tortured, I could die any day, and anybody. Right? That's how Poland was. It was very scary. Russians really control completely the whole country and control it with really mean way. So uh, today, when I look into what happens in Ukraine, I understand why they fight so much because those who are in 60s, they remember what the Russians did there and how they ruled this country. So they will do anything so the history doesn't repeat for them. And it's just the same for all the other countries around. So that was really tough. When it came to activities like sports, it was open to everybody. So it was subsidized by the communistic system. So if you were an athlete, you could train and you could almost have anything to for yourself to really actually progress.
And so if I'm right in thinking in 1986 you moved to the US as a political refugee.
Yes, yeah, I moved as a political refuge after I was leading the strike in Warsaw, fireman strike that uh, happened because the government wanted to include the fire protection into the paramilitary forces and use them against demonstrations. And in 81, when I was finishing my fire protection academy, the government decided to do it, and strike happened. And after that, I was underground until '84, and when I feared for my life, I left, went to Sweden, then Germany, and then came to US in 1986.
And was it the back then the allure of the American dream and seeing it in the movies, that kind of thing, that made you want to move to the US, or what was the kind of motivation to move to the United States?
I was always, you know, dreaming or wanted independence, but full independence, so which I didn't have in Poland at all. And I thought about which country, can leave you alone, so you can do uh, your life and in your way. And I saw America is that country that when I go there, I will be left alone. It means alone and responsible, but uh, alone in a way that I can create my own life. And I could immigrate, to Canada, to Australia, or stay in Sweden or in Germany. But I thought that socialism was not for me either. I really wanted the the independence, my own independence, and in an extreme way. And I found it in the US.
You moved to the US. What part of the US did you move to initially?
So we had a sponsor in Detroit, and we flew to New York, and our luggage didn't come in Detroit, so we lost everything with whatever we had.
Oh wow.
But we didn't want to stay in Detroit. We had $1,000 and the clothes on the us.
Mm.
And we knew somebody in LA that was on the same plane that we were flying. And so we thought about going to LA, and there was somebody that, also we knew that could help us. But when we landed in Detroit, we didn't want to stay there, so we bought tickets after 18 hours to LA. So we came to LA around 11 p.m. and the person that wanted to help us was going to help us said that was sick and couldn't help us at that time. So we started really looking for somebody that could actually help us in our situation. We didn't know how to move around, right?
Mm.
So then somebody came, a Polish man came and helped us to, he said, I can take you somewhere, but I cannot take you where I am. So eventually we ended up in that place where the person place that was on a plane with us. And we started there. We slept on the floor in somebody's room, and that was our beginning.
Out of curiosity, when you are on the plane to the United States, you talk about the need for extreme um, living independently, extreme independence. And came, and then your baggage gets lost, your belongings. Was your mentality of fear and what's going to be, or was it an optimistic, I'm in a land of opportunity mentality when you got to Los Angeles?
Well, so Anila was more, scared and worrying, and I was telling that, when the luggage was not there, I told her, well, yeah, life wants us to be clean, so help us to get rid of everything, whatever we have. So my mentality, my perspective was always positive and rebuilding, in spite of where I could end up. So I was always pretty free and activated to do things and never really worried too much about where I was and how it was.
And so you're in Los Angeles, you're sleeping on the floor. What happens next? How do you get your start, or what do you start doing to earn money and start a livelihood and start a life there?
So that was a really tough time, and we started really talking to people around to find somebody that could help us. We went to a church. We didn't get Polish church on Adams. We didn't get the help there. And the place that we were, there was this Polish man that helped us. And then he talked to us about this Polish family that in Los Feliz that they were building a house on the second house on the property, but it was half built, it was not heated. And we met them, and they were comfortable with who we were, and they let us to live there in this place while they were building it. So there was this room in the back that we could close and stay there. So the next like a month we spent on walking around trying to figure out, what to do. And we were looking for gyms, and because of the weightlifting. So we found the gym eventually in Burbank. That was like could be 2 hour walk, but
Wow.
we're circulating like cats,
Mhm.
Stay a little bit farther and farther and farther. And we came to the gym, and I talked to Aram. He was the owner, and told him, who I was and where from, and he said, "Well, I give you a shot, I will give you $5 from Monday to Friday, 5 hours, and you will we'll see if you find yourself." As I said, "What do you mean find myself?" So he said, this kind of a new personal training system that people that help others to get stronger, better, and rejuvenate them and so on. So to get rid of injuries. If you can do that and help people, then you will find yourself. So that's how it began. And when people knew people were coming to the gym, then they were assigned to a trainer for the first hour to set them up, to tell them how the gym operates and what they can do and how. And usually these people were signing for a private session with me. They really liked how I talk about health and fitness. And very shortly, I get a lot of private sessions. And when I had a private session, people with Jim was paying me $15 out of 25, so I was getting 60%.
Yep.
So slowly we started, getting money. Also at the time, we went to Glendale College and we studied English, and we thought about really studying medicine
Mhm.
and both, but the development of business was so fast that eventually we stopped going to Glendale, and we started really working in fitness and in as personal trainers, and we really like it. So everything was good.
What I find interesting is, obviously you did have some different occupation back in Poland, but for a lot of your lifetime you spent in the health and fitness space. Whereas I think in today's society you find people doing, many different things over their lifetime, but you seem to have dedicated an awful lot of your life to one specific thing, right?
Well, it's first, I have to say that maybe it would be something different, but what happened to us is that whatever we were doing was working,
Yep.
and people. really like what we did with them. We had certain results. We followed certain uh, structure and wisdom how to do and what to do. And after some years, uh, we understood that there is something going on here that we have and how we pursue and so on. And there are some other people that encourage us to really create a program, create something that people could have. The method that we were really coaching people was unique, and it needed to be manifested. So, because of that, uh, moving toward the manifestation of that what it was only in us and intuitive, created this uh, pursuing and keep uh, going and doing is still our work in fitness. So
Mhm.
we kind of by creating the program, we were also creating a new business and putting ourselves in a different place, not only the trainers but authors and writers and so philosophers, and because all of it was needed uh, during the process of creating the Vivadi.
And so how did or when you started the program differ from what other people in this same kind of personal training world were doing at the time?
Our focus was different. So uh, people wanted different things, like they wanted to be healthier, they wanted to uh, get rid of pains and injuries and weaknesses, and deal with sarcopenia, osteoporosis, or everything, whatever happens to people when they actually get worse with age, and not with age, but also with problems, health problems. So we pursue major pursue was strength, flexibility, and these two, and speed, kind of coordination. In that, this pursue was always helpful with whatever people had. So it didn't matter whether people wanted to be lean, or they wanted to be strong, or they wanted to get rid of pills or hypertension.
Hmm.
The pursue, we understood that if we pursue strength and posture and flexibility and leanness and certain body weight type, uh, all of it, uh, this pursuit will clear all the problems that people had, in spite of whatever problems they had.
Yeah. No, I get that. I understand that. And I suppose over time has the program changed and evolved, or are the core kind of principles of what you were doing back then still present today?
Yes, because we set up the standard. We set up the standard to pursue the goals. Like in athletics, you have a standard. If you are in athletics, in number athletics, like let's say sprinting or pole vaulting, you know the numbers, you know where you are, and you can compare yourself in state or your country and the world, how good you are. So we set up those standards for people, so they could have those standards and find themselves guidelines how good they are, and also improve those standards, watch them, right? So if they wanted to deal with longevity and health and and fitness and facing the aging process, so we set up those standards, and one of those was the body weight, the leanness, so to avoid sarcopenia, strength, flexibility, good posture. And those standards are valid today, and they will be valid in 1,000 years, because these are the general standards of health, and, uh, and simply they will not change.
And I read that you have helped in the region of more than 30,000 people over the time that you've been working with this program.
Yes, so you know, I have been coaching since 87, right? So that's about 38 years. So during this time, of course, at the beginning, the Happy Body was not really the existing, it was existing in us. But in about 94, uh, we wanted to write the Happy Body, create, like, bring into the life, manifest the process, manifest the guidelines, manifest the philosophy of it. And we hired a writer, but after half a year, what we saw, what was written, was not good, was not really what we meant. So Anila said, you know what, we probably have to pursue the writing career in order to write what's in us, because nobody is going to do that. So we both entered the Vermont College MFA in creative writing and pursued that for 2 years and graduated in 98 and started really getting into the writing the Happy Body. And it was a process until 2009. In
Wow.
2009, we finally finished the Happy Body and published in 2009. But it was a lengthy process of dealing with Happy Body and finding the numbers, because it's scientifically done system in a way that you can take it and there are numbers. So the science of it is 100%. So there are numbers for anybody to test it, for anybody to follow it, and for anybody to improve and get better. But all numbers, nothing vagueness. So nothing is like I want a high energy or some vague statements that people sometimes want, like I want to lose weight. So in our program, it's not like I want to lose weight. You will right away find yourself what is the best body weight that you could have.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the number, and then you have your number day, and you start calculating, okay, well, in order to be healthy and robust, I need to do this. I need to lose 27 pounds, let's say. And that you pursue the number. And the same with strength and, any other standards. The standard of strength was given to me in 2002 when I competed at the Master Olympics in Melbourne. And in Melbourne, there was this weightlifter who came. He was 80 years old, and
wow.
And then he lifted weight that was equal his body weight.
Okay.
When I was watching that, I was just looking at that and said, wow, how is it possible that the guy is 80 years old and so strong, like so strong when I thought about, myself when I was 15, right? Guys were lifting weights, and the best of us could actually do this, the weight, to lift the weight that was equal our body weight. So I was looking at this 80 years old and I was just thinking, wow, so that should be our standard of the strength.
Sure.
So then I recalculated that strength, the number strength from clean and jerk and into the normal lifts, set up the standard, and the program at that point was finished. So to 2002, it took another 7 years to manifest actually in writing cohesive understanding of the program, and not only the standards, but actually plan and strategies how to actually pursue that on your own. And as we thought that the program is independent, it's like coming back to my independence.
Yeah.
I love independence. I wanted to write something that people don't need me.
Right.
And that is so good. And so people can take it and they can create that lifestyle for themselves just from the book. And it works. We have emails of people that they buy a book, they don't email us for 5 years, and after 5 years, they email us. And we have these emails of people that pursue the program without telling them, and then they tell us how great it was, where they are and so on. It's very appreciated. So we are very happy about what we created. It's just awesome. Not awesome for other people, but for us too. I have now guidelines. I didn't know these guidelines, but I had intuitive guidelines in my life. But now, really, the happy body helps me. So
Right.
I'm getting older, and I also struggle with keeping my strength, my speed, and my flexibility. So all of it is there, and at that point, you don't want to overdo.
Yeah.
So overdo is the worst thing that could happen, and that's how people get injured. They want more, they want too much, too fast, and they usually get injured, and then or get the plateau. And
Yeah.
usually, when I meet people and they say, "Well, I hit the plateau and got tired, and I change, hit the plateau, get tired, and change, or injured, and so on." So I usually tell people, "Listen, it's not your business." So the exercise system is like not different than become MD or a lawyer
Yeah.
or whatever it is, right? So or engineer. So it's just the same thing. If it's not your business, you will make mistakes. You will have problems and so on. So in order to help yourself, find a mentor, find somebody that knows it. So find somebody that could help you through somebody that their business is that business, right?
Yeah.
The fitness, the exercise, the nutrition, all of it, right? So then you will get better. Hire them and pay them because it's their business. Today, most people think that they know how to, how to get stronger, how to get faster, how not to lose muscle, how to deal with bones. No, people don't know because it's not their business. It's a lot of knowledge in actually in this industry, and that knowledge comes from experience, from pursuing. I remember the situations that people really thought about. Oh, how we do, how many reps, how many sets, and so on. But all this comes with many, many, many years of practice. There is this situation, the joke or the tale about Picasso, and Picasso was in a cafe and was drawing something.
Yeah.
And after he was leaving, a woman came to him. I think it's a story maybe, and she said, asked her, "Can I have the napkin?" And then he said, "Sure, $20,000." And then she said, $20,000 for dribbling for 5 minutes? He said, "It's not 5 minutes, it's 60 years drew that. What is on that napkin?"
Yep.
So you see that it's just the same with anything that we do in life. If you spend 40 to 50 years in something that you really know, the good stuff, how to be better and good, but also the danger, the other side of it. So the contradiction is clear, and people that are professionals, they have patience. The people who have patience, those who want to make money and they invest and so on, they have patience to be rich, to become rich. So the patience is extremely important in any profession. And professionals can be recognized as people who have this patience, they have it, and they execute it. I coached this cerebral palsy boy for 5 years, brought him from the moments that he was crippled, he was not talking much, and his only language was to eat or to go to bed. And he was 25 years old when the father brought him to me. And after 5 years, the boys in college overcame, elementary school, overcame high school, got stronger, straighter, corrected energy from lethargy, became very strong young man. And the family received the son back, and then they have conversation, they have pursue, and they don't worry anymore that when they die, their boy can be, in any stranger's, hands. So the patience is extremely important. Simply, if you take somebody from the beginning, it doesn't matter what the beginning is, you can create magic. I mean, the progress that can be done, it always amazed me. Burning desire, burning desire to actually see it. And I see it over and over and over. That actually the gap between what you can be and how you can be and what you are, it's huge. I mean, humongous. And you can see in athletes how it is, when I went to the gym, I couldn't lift, 110 pounds. But after 5 years, I lifted 330 pounds. So it's something that I couldn't lift from one side, maybe.
Yeah.
So there is a room, the room for developing flexibility, developing strength, becoming faster, having better posture, start opening the spine and move the spine. There's just room, but that has to be in somebody's mind. Those numbers have to be somewhere. So I have those numbers when I coach people, and any professional has also those numbers where we can go and how much time is needed to get there. Not professional people will not have that time. They will not know how much time to get there. And because of that, they will rush.
Yeah.
And once they rush, they pass the adaptation of the body to adapting to the certain levels. Now, once it's done, the body cannot adapt anymore. The body gets burned, or the body gets injured when it comes to the physical nature, of course.
You mentioned within that, and something I wrote down is that after all this time, so almost 40 years, it's still very rewarding the work you do, right?
Oh, of course. It's even more. But, it's always the beginning. And if you really look for the weakness, and if you find that weakness, and you define what the weakness is, and then you improve from that point, that is always joy and fun and pleasure in life, right? That you can have. So, and you can see it in numbers, and it's when it comes in poetry, it's like I'm also a poet. So when I read a poem, every time that I read a poem, that poem, the way I read, like, it's always a new one. It's always something that with this poem that is a renew itself. It gives me something that I've never really had it before. So with weaknesses and people really helping people is very rewarding because it's really rewarding to know and to watch people become happier. It's just nothing better than that. When my client opens the door and it's happy and you know and it's drop all this depression and worry and so on is not there anymore. But this is it. This is like nothing better than that.
I think that leads us on to the if people are watching this video or if they're not, I'll say what it is. A quote that you're very famous for is just right behind you, which is hard choices, easy life, and easy choices, hard life. And what's interesting hearing your story more from you talking just now is that I think that threads all through your life, not just in the fitness and the business sense, but also from your beginnings in Poland and the troubles you had trying to find your way in the United States. I think you embody that quote like nobody else.
Yeah, and it happens in every moment of your life, right? So, and watching your life and watching, how you recover and restore yourself and how hard it is to restore yourself sometimes. You watch it over and over, but I also watch that uh, looking at my clients, and I watch them really having hard choices, and whenever they made the easy choices, how hard the life was becoming. I watched that, and I started writing poetry about that. And after spend about 4 or 5 years, I wrote a book of poetry that to help people with these situations when the hard choice is just in front of you. And after that, I wrote dialogues, with how emotionally intelligent you have to be to uh, to decide something that takes a lot of effort, and how fatalist is strong in the body system, and uh, how tough it is to do something what is not your habit and to pull out of it, and also how intelligent you have to be, how wise you have to be to outsmart the fatalists and to move. Let's say it's 50-50, and if his fatalist is doing something, your life is going backward. If the master is doing something, you go a little bit forward. But that debate is over and over and over in us. And whenever we are able uh, to execute this hard choice, this 51% of the master and 49 of the fatalist, we build up, we get better, we move forward, like you said,
Yeah.
we go, we go forward. It's and that is uh, clear in every aspect of our life. Actually, Naval noticed that uh, the hard choice. That's what I do, and once he said, you know what, you create the possibility for people to accept in their minds the hard choices that they have to make, and that's the magic you are doing. And then I pondered on it, and then that eventually led to the saying. Eventually, the saying was created. It was really not created, but the saying was created on something that was already there for a long
Yes.
time.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's interesting because I saw a quote from Naval where it's a longer quote, but I took a piece out of it where he calls you a lion, but also at peace, which I thought was quite an interesting quote. And then there's also a Tim Ferriss quote, which is who most people are very familiar with, um, where he says he's met over 10,000 people and you're in the top 10 for success and happiness. It's quite something.
Well, Naval and Tim, but Tim was they are different when they were coming to my place, but Tim was coming for 2 years into my place, and I think that it was the one time they were both of them, and they really loved what I was doing, and then Tim said, I'm just thinking how we can uh, take Jerzy out of his cave. And I said, I don't know. He loves his cave. So, it's sometimes when we build something more, it can be a trap that we try to build too much. So it is important when we progress in life, it's organic or organically done. When we are ready or things are ready, then we move forward. And we have to wait for it. And as poets, it's very clear for us that, and we're okay. So you somehow have to be very happy in the moment that you are in your life
Yeah.
and accept everything that it is perfect at that time. But at the same time, you also focus on forward and building something. But that forward and building something, like my coach was saying, Olympics is a flicker over horizon. It's not a fire. So that taught me really one thing, that we are comfortable with ourselves where we are in a place that you live in and the things that you do, but at the same time you can move forward and keep building, and that's okay if it's done the progressively and consistently and slowly. Eventually builds up a lot, and if it's done too fast, then we crash, and then we have to rebuild again.
It's interesting because I was about to ask you how you define success and how you define happiness, but I think in what you just mentioned there, you pretty much have summarized your thoughts on that. Um, I'm interested to learn a couple of things. So, in today's society, we see more and more people that are out of shape, overweight, not in the peak of physical health, shall we say. What do you think's causing that, and why is it so difficult to to be in shape? Why is that so hard for people?
Well, the truth is, it's not really hard, but it's a culture. It's a lifestyle. And when a person is in the lifestyle of people that are out of shape, then other people will help that person to be out of shape, or push that person toward that direction. And I think that the most problematic is here that people don't have guidelines. They don't know really how they are supposed to be, that there is even skill of living that is there and would tell them how to live and to do things. I mean, people don't think that they are supposed to do anything. They just live life, work, try to find some happiness and so on. And so they are exhausted and they don't really they just live life. They don't think about that they should do something. And even thinking, I think for them to do something is already tiring. So how to create something, how to talk to people, let's say, and tell them that there is a skill of living. And if they do, the magic can happen. Oh, what is the magic, right? So the magic can be that they will be able to travel when they are 70 and 80 they will be able to travel. They will have robust body and healthy body, and they will not, be in hospitals, see medical doctors and so on. They will not be spending money on medicine. It's not going to happen. They will not be taking any medicine. I am 71 and my wife is 66, and we don't take any pills, nothing, zero. So when I go to a doctor and say, "So you're not taking any pills?" No. So how does it work? Really? You don't take even aspirin? I say, no, no aspirin. So it's a situation with the lifestyle that it's too hard for people. First of all, there is no routine, and then how to help people to actually start, right? To start from the mind that wants to sit and watch TV, to the mind that would do the routine and get better over time, and actually have it. So it has to happen through some kind of a knowledge that is passed on people. Without knowledge, it's not going to happen. But at the same time, inspire people, right? So inspiration here is extremely important, right? So role modeling and inspiration. So when people come to when I saw Charlie Henderson when he was 8 years old, I was inspired.
Sure.
I was, wow, I was, I was only, 46 years old, but when I was looking at him, I was just thinking, wow, I was inspired. When he came to the banquet after, we saw him walking in with his wife, and they walk like cats, like tigers, right? Like lions. This calmness, right? Was what Naval is talking about.
Yeah.
This power, and they walk, and the a person came with the champagne. He picked up champagne, gave it to his wife. They talk and they behave like this. The people in 20s, it was just awesome way to see. And I was just thinking, when I am 80 years old, I want to be like this, right? So he showed me what could be done. And that's why I, work with the numbers. And I thought, okay, when people in 30s and 40s, it shouldn't be for them difficult to actually reach those numbers. When they reach these numbers in 30s and 40s, it will be easy for them to continue to hit those numbers until they are 80. And even if they are 80 and they have this kind of power, they will have a really good life. That's the whole purpose, of philosophy, is to live a good life. That is a good life. So inspiration is crucial. I see people, my clients, and sometimes, they are my age, but they are really out of shape completely. And when they find out that we are the same age, it is extremely inspirational for them.
Yeah.
They are motivated to do. So it starts with the motivation. The other thing is just the plan. How you incorporate micro progression into the plan of a person that didn't do anything in life, didn't move, and how you actually open this joy of doing exercise in that person. So that I spent a lot of years on thinking about how to really do that, how to create this micro progressive system that would work with anybody that is lethargic and doesn't do anything, doesn't even think that that person should do anything. So I see that inspiration is the first element, microprogression is the second, vision that actually there is a skill of living, and the vision that we can get better is extremely important as well here.
I read that you have or had, I'm not sure which is, if it's present tense or past tense, a record that stood for 17 years, but I don't know what the record was. What was that record?
Oh, it was they changed the weight classes now. It was the national record, US national record, master's record, and it was for 17 years. And now weightlifting changed the whole industry, changed the sport, changed the numbers of the weight classes. Sometimes they do it when they have better testing, drug testing. So they change classes, so the records are not existing anymore.
Right.
And because of the better testing, they are able to better monitor people and so ensure that people don't really cheat and take advantage of the drugs. So that record was was staying for 17 years.
I'm interested to know, again, you've spent a long time in the health and fitness space, and I'm sure it's changed a lot. And one of the biggest changes, positive and perhaps negative, is modern social media with body image problems for young people and fitness influencers who maybe have some knowledge and some maybe are giving the wrong knowledge. What's your general take as on social media from one, the body image side, how it's affecting people, and also from the fitness side? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing, or neither?
I think that manifestation is the lacking element in media and talk about how to be healthy and what to do. So manifestation is just that there is no science, there are no numbers attached to it, and they are missing. It's a physical component is missing. So we can talk about how to drive a car, but if we don't drive the car, then we cannot really drive a car. But we could think that we can drive a car because we have so much knowledge. So it's the talk today is more toward entertainment than actually manifesting the goals. So entertainment is everywhere, and that's okay. That fitness becomes more entertainment than actually inspiring people to do and to create the plan and the goals and manifest that. So one of the person that actually created that possibility was Bikram Yoga. So Bikram created 24 postures and pursued those postures to perfection. Because of that, people got the data after a year or two and three with whole body system. They were able to feel and predict the body, how the body behave on a day, also improve. When they were improving, they could see it because after 2-3 months of doing the postures, something happened in the body system that they knew when they got better. So they relax because of they had the routine. So they had knowing the routine. The routine was always there. They could practice this wherever they were in their world. And it was always the same routine, an improvement of that routine, the same way as a pianist, improve certain piece of music.
Yeah.
So Bikram Yoga is awesome. Is an amazing thing. The worst what people can do is variety. as soon as they start jumping between programs, between plans, between different activities, then they rob themselves from excellence, from improvement, from reaching the levels that really gives the joy of actually this activity.
Right.
So we are missing. So if I could recommend people just to pursue one thing and improve that, and that variety on the side. But if something has to be really major pursue. Like if you are a skier, hey, improve that skiing, make that skiing really something that counts, and everything else, like it's supportive to it. Or if you have some variety of for fun and activity, that's fine. It's the same. So for surfing and any other activity that you can actually become better. The variety is a killer of quality. So
Very
as soon
interesting.
as soon as you fall into variety, there is no way for improvement. There is a kind of improvement, but the improvement is more in the entertainment, having good time. And during this having good time, there is no improvement over time. You can have having a good time in pursuing, let's say, sprinting and soccer, whatever it is, but also improve over time. So how you can implement that mind of improvement and becoming more skillful in whatever you do is is a new vision for today's media. Today's media is variety, is entertainment, and it's not really. There is no focus. And there's always tips, and tips for everything, and there is no practice. Bikram yoga is practice. So the Happy Body, our program, is practice. There are 18 exercises forever, but this 18 exercise, ensures that we have everything what you need to get stronger, to have great posture, to be lean. And the same way, Bikram yoga is, ensuring that you will be flexible, you will be loose, you will be calm, and all these things will happen. But you have to practice it. So I recommend, the Happy Body people to do yoga, but I tell them to do yoga that is not changing. That yoga, that you have a teacher that doesn't change. And if that is not there, just go and find Bikram yoga.
Right. That makes sense. I think you within your Happy Body program there are three sort of sections: exercise, which we talked about, nutrition, which is obviously widely talked about. The third element is really interesting, I found, because it's not something that you often hear fitness influencers or people within that industry talking about, and that is relaxation. Can you talk about what that means and why that's so important in your program?
Well, the food is important because one of the standards is the body weight. So people need to learn uh, how to lose weight or gain weight or sustain weight. So all these three elements are really they need to be learned, and they need to be in the self-awareness and capabilities of a person to really make this happen. Once you can do it, you are free. You know how to lose weight, you know how to gain weight, you know how to maintain weight. That's it. That you know that, then you can have any body weight that you want, right?
Yep.
So that is the Happy Body teaches first that. So that's where the food is more used as teaching that capabilities, and not really to eat healthy or not healthy, and what food and so on. It's more important that to actually control the body weight. when it comes to the mind, meditation is important. So meditation creates this release and the entrance of the gap between the impulse and the response. So the bigger the gap, the more possibility for us to do something what is good and not to do something what is not. So when we are reactive, when the gap is very small, then we do certain things that are easy choices are. When the gap is bigger, we have time, and we have time to accept, to embrace the hard choice, and to pursue that. So delayed gratification here is how we create the life of the happy body, right? So we have to somehow have delayed gratification mind and to create this delayed gratification mind. And we can create that by practicing of calmness. The calmer we are, the bigger the gap between the impulse, especially when the impulses are strong and negative, when we are under attack and people are hostile to us. It's really hard for certain things negative come in. It's really hard for us to keep this calmness and sanity. So most of the time we can really react and snap. So not to do that is emotional intelligence. That's emotional intelligence is really more important than knowledge, I would say, because if you have knowledge but you don't have emotional intelligence, you can do negative things, and even though you can be talented in certain things, but you cannot practice because emotions will take you away to the places of darkness.
I think my final question to kind of round the conversation off is, um, you're said you're 71 now, but doing the fitness world and been in that space for a long period of time. And now, what are your goals going forward? What keeps you motivated? Is it the still helping clients and, as you say, turning potentially people that are depressed or not as happy with where they are and turning that around? Is that what you kind of get you up in the morning, or is there something more for you that you think about?
Aristotle said, know yourself, and, um, Naval was always, strong about that, how important it is to know yourself. So knowing yourself is extremely important and pursue. But knowing yourself is not in a way that you know yourself, but there is an element in Stoicism that the idea that the nature brought us here, and we are we are born, and we are born because nature exists, and because we are born and we are going through life, we could be needed for that nature. So the believing in Stoicism is that you should improve yourself over and over in life until we are not there anymore. And that is your responsibility to the nature. And I got it. I really got that. And that drives me. It really doesn't matter really how long I will be living.
Yep.
And whatever I will be doing, but I'm improving everything. So my daughter, 3 years ago, she went to college, and now my wife and I, we are in the house, both of us. So I said, what are we going to do now? So we both entered the PhD program. And this is the fourth year already that I do. Anila is pursuing the mind-body medicine, and I do the humanistic psychology. So, is do we need it? We don't know. So it's the when you have the message, that then you follow the message. If the message is, comes with the hard choice, because PhD came with the hard choice. You have to have time. You have to work. You have to really, and it will change. You will not be the same person. But that's the whole idea, not to be the same person after 4 years. Are you out of your mind? People could say you're 70 years old and you're doing PhD. So you see, it's a part of the improvement. It's not really how long I will be living and whether I will make more money or not. But I own it, this improvement and knowledge to all my clients, and I own it to the nature back. So it's like I'm becoming the mentor to people and teaching goodness or passing goodness and constant improvement. And this makes the world a better place. And the nature, in a way, hopefully could say thank you, right? That you're okay, you're a good boy. and that is good. That is good enough. And I will pursue that. And it's a really great journey, to learn things, to learn new things, to pick up these hard choices constantly and make them easy eventually. This is really fun. And yeah, I run away from the easy choices. Easy choices not fun. To repeat the same things, okay. So if you do something the same, like you do the Bikram yoga, do it the way that you do something a little bit more than before. And you need that mind to go forward, to improve, to become better over time.
I think that's a really great place to leave the conversation. I definitely can see why the likes of Tim Ferris and Naval Ravikant, who are people that are very inspiring to me, I find very interesting. People find you very interesting by extension. Thank you really so much for sharing your perspective, your life story. So many good. I know I've written pages of different things that are interesting, little nuggets of information you said there. And I will make sure that in the show notes we have the link to your book and anything else that's useful for people to be able to find you and reach you. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jerzy. It was a really pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for the questions. They were interesting questions, and it was really fun to dig in my mind to answer them. Really, thank you.
Thank you.